It's June 15th, 2020. It's going to be in English. Going to talk to Poland, Amaru Szakur. And we're going to talk about Corona crisis, ACTA, ACTA2, copyright restrictions, and anti-terror regulations. So you're a guest in Potkaars. In Dutch, Potkaars is a pot with a candle. Conversations of hope and activists. So allow me to introduce you. Back in the day before I turned activist, like in 2012, Poland was one of the countries stopping ACTA. Here I am in 2020, and you're wearing a ACTA2 shirt. So welcome, Amaru.
Hi, Rico. Hi, everybody. Yeah, it turns out so. In June 2018, we heard about the copyright directive on the technological news in Poland, and people that started the 2012 ACTA protest from Poland, because the whole protest started in Poland and then went Europe-wide, thought that it's dangerous installing upload filters and link access, so they used our own Polish platform for digging out news, and it's called Backup. So in translation, it's dig out, and it's to dig out news from all over the world, to call out for activists who fought in 2012 to come back and start the protests. And some have answered the call, and we created a group, and we grew within a couple of days to 40,000.
Polish people, or what?
Yes, Polish people. And within a week, we did protests. We organized protests in 18 Polish cities against the copyright directive, against upload filters. So in the first vote in the European Parliament, none of the Polish maps voted for the directive and for the filters, so they rejected, and the copyright directive was disbanded. Was discussed, but then in September, some of the maps from one of the parties they voted for the copyright directive.
In your country also. So I've been following Julia Reda, who was back in European Parliament back then for Pirate Party of Germany, and she went out of her way to stop this thing. And back when the final vote was there, like the Nord Stream pipeline was traded between France and Germany to get enough votes in. And also apparently in your country, some members of parliament voted, and we got the new copyright directive. So before we proceed, maybe, I mean, this is going to be seen by activists and people who know ACTA, but also maybe by people who have never heard of it. So ACTA stands for Anti-Counterfeiting Trade Agreement. And if you ask a European parliamentarian, they would probably say, well, it's for content creators. Like you want to be able to have people enjoy their copyrights, and that's being abused. So we have to make rules to stop that. And all the people going, oh, we like our internet free. We don't like those rules imposed. So we don't want ACTA. And the first ACTA, Anti-Counterfeiting Trade Agreement, was not passed. And then the copyright industry scratched their heads and said, we went about this wrong. And they changed their policies, and they got their new rules passed last year, right? So that's the copyright directive.
Yes, they did. Well, first of all, the name ACTA, we use this because a lot of our activists were the same people that started the ACTA in 2012. So we had the history. I know that it's not the same directive, it's not the same law, but still it is based on copyright, as the other one was. And this time it went, because the fact is that we understand that the future and the new technology requires new copyright laws. This is, I think, readable to everyone that sees the new technologies, and Spotify, YouTube, Netflix, all the stream that we have, and we stopped using CDs, DVDs. We're using new technologies, so we understand that new copyright laws need to be created. But the problem is with what is inside this new directive, because we get this feeling that someone is trying to bypass some different laws that want to tender information, and that want to use advanced surveillance methods within those new laws for copyright, for terreg. So they are trying to use good ideas for bad practices.
Yeah, and there's two things slipped in there, if I understand you correctly, the way we started this conversation before I started recording. And let's go by those two things. One is terreg, and the other one is the European Union wanting to collect their own set of information, much like that's done abroad. So what is that hashtag that's going around called terreg, TERREG?
Okay. Well, terreg stands for terror. Sorry. For terrorist content regulation, and it's designed to. I'm sorry, but I just lost the video.
Did you lost the video link?
Oh yeah, no, I got it.
Sorry, I had to say something. No, we're doing good.
Okay, sorry. You asked the question again.
Carry on. All right. The question is: so they're abusing proper copyright reforms that might have been due, and one of the things that the European Union wants to do, they see Facebook and they see Google making money, and they go, we could use some of that money. That would be one of the incentives of the copyright reform. Another one is the instruction given to hosting platforms that they are required to take down content within the hour if European Union thinks it's terrorist related, right?
Yeah. Going back to terreg, the terrorist content regulation. It's a regulation that is the second European law that is designed to install upload filters to internet platforms, online platforms, and and it's the same thing as with copyrights. We understand that we need copyrights, and we understand that we need terrorism content regulations. We do. We can't let ISIS, try to use our internet platforms to recruit terrorists. So we understand this. However, the thing is that everything is going. We would have to step back before terreg was born, before the copyright directive was born, to 2015, when the European Commission introduced a new strategy of online of a new digital strategy for Europe. And this new strategy was called Digital Single Market. And the digital single market is a business strategy for Europe to gain in its full potential, with its full potential, about 500 billion euros per year. income from all the services regarding this one strategy. So the base of this strategy was creating our own AI system. And this AI system is created by a French national company called Thales. The Thales group is known for creating military weapons, and electronic system, radars, and other advanced technological equipment for NATO. Not only for the French army, but for the whole NATO. And they are the company that's responsible for creating the European AI, artificial intelligence. So this also shows you why Macron, President Macron of France, is the first person standing after ACTA2. He was the first person who is always saying that we need this regulation and we need this directive as to copyright and as to terreg. So,
well, that's interesting. I wasn't aware. So I was following the Article 13 discussion and the Nord Stream 2 pipeline being traded by Germany and France. And France really wanted to have that directive implemented. I was not aware that there might be, well, it's always follow the money, but there might be French industrial benefits to that. So you're making the point that that's the reason that Macron was pushing for Article 13. And
I think back when this started, I think the budget was about 2.5 billion euros for AI, and now it's about 9 billion and heading up to 20 billion euros investment from the European Union into the AI system. So it's large money and it's a large income to France. So this is the first part. Then there is the second. The Chinese, they got the WeChat, they got TikTok, so they can feed their own AI system. Because AI systems, they need to be fed with data from our normal behavior as people. And the United States, they are the leader in AI. They have, but they are the leader in commercial AI for business, and the Chinese are the leaders in and AI for the government. The surveillance technology, and everything that's designed for the government.
So for United, hang on, just so that I understand you correctly. For United States, you mean to say that's companies like Facebook that are making lots of money using their AI.
Yes, exactly. I mean, they are using the platforms because, you don't have to pay. You have to pay for your Netflix, you have to pay for your Spotify, but you don't pay for your Facebook, you don't pay for your Google account. And why is that? Because all the data that they use are then used to, that you create or you exchange via your account is used to feed the AI. So,
okay, but how can you explain how that makes money for them? So what does that AI do with the data that you volunteer to them?
Well, first of all, it's an investment. So the AI learns. It learns how to interact with people, how to understand people. I don't know if you remember IRC. The first internet chat.
Internet relay chat, yeah, sure.
Yeah, we used to create bots back in the days, and when the computers were really, really small, and we used to see how long it would take a person to realize that he is talking to a bot on the chat, and that was more than 20 years ago. Right now, with all the supercomputers that Google, Facebook has, they have astonishing possibilities of creating artificial intelligence. But you have Google Home, you have Amazon, you have Siri, and you can't compare them to a bot from 20 years ago on the chat, and all the knowledge that those bots have, they received it from our platforms. I mean, not all of them, but a large amount of that knowledge. And then Google and Facebook, they sell the services, the AI services to the military. They sell it to business companies, Wall Street. AI is used almost everywhere right now. So,
so the point that you're making is that rather than, well, it's a double-sided sword probably, but rather than trying to have content creators get fair value for whatever they invented, you're saying, well, European Union wants a piece of the pie. I mean, they're harvesting the data of metadata of European citizens. We want our own AI system. That's what you're saying?
Yeah. That's one of the points. Yes, we want our own AI system that will take care of the European Union interests. That's what I mean. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying what I read. It's not that I believe in all of this, because we need our own AI because we are the European. We are in Europe. We are European citizens, and we need to take care of our own. It's not wise to let someone else use their own AIs to take care of our platforms because, well, first of all, security, second of all, measurements, and, third of all, the business of other countries. The United States has business with Europe that may not be good for European citizens. So we need our own AI. But the point is that they want a piece of the pie. So they want to get a plugin into Google. They want to get a plugin into Facebook, but they also want to use all the websites and all the content that is used in the European internet. So they thought of the upload filters. And this is why we have the copyright directive, and this is why we have the terreg. So they have the upload filters. But going back to the copyright directive, after the ACTA2 2012, they saw what they did wrong. Because back then, they just wanted to introduce a political, a new law. And what happened? People started demonstrating, and it went from state to state, all over Europe, and all the politicians, they needed to back out because they would destroy their own political career. So this time they learned the lesson, and first of all they went to the news agencies and they said, okay, we're going to introduce a law that's called a link tax, and we are going to put tax on everyone who uses information from a press source.
And the news agencies who were losing revenue already go, oh, that's nice. We still get some money because people. Okay, fair enough. You make your point. So the news agencies were on board, and then they moved on, right? Yeah, carry on.
So once we started creating the protests, the news went silent, and we didn't understand why until we analyzed all the information, about the directive. Then they went to the content creators and, basically to the artists. And they said, okay, you want in? We need an idea why we are going to introduce the upload filters. And, copyright directive, it's a fair choice. It's a good, positive. We need new copyright laws. And, if someone uses your information that's stealing from your creation that's stealing from you, so we need upload filters to safeguard your property. And the artist said, wow, okay, great. So they got two on board, the artist and the media.
Yeah, hang on. So hang on. I'm artist, and not all not all artists agreed. So maybe it was also the organizations pretending to represent the artists, right?
Yes, exactly. That was the organization. So
carry on.
Yeah. Funny thing, in Poland, we've got this organization called Bikes that's representing the artists. And we had a big war against them during the whole process of the amendment of ACTA2. But right now we are in a second war with them because they want to introduce another new tax on smartphones. So they want the 6% of the worth of a smartphone or all other smart devices like TVs to be paid to them.
Not because they can store MP3s, because you can stream content to them?
Yeah, exactly.
It's the same deal. It's the same as with cassette I don't even know what the word.
Cassette, yeah.
Music cassettes, same thing, VHS videotapes and stuff. It's history. Yeah, carry on.
No, sorry.
That's history repeating, right?
Yeah, it's just.
So hang on. So the copyright industry, European Union, they learned their lesson. So they failed with ACTA. They learned their lesson and they improved it to what you call ACTA2. So we, as an activist community, or content creators, or people defending the free internet, we were sleeping then. We're behind the curve now.
Yes, exactly. Well, there were big manifestations, in Germany with Julia Reda, with Anonymous all over Europe. However, those with Anonymous, I think, but only in Netherlands there was a bigger manifestation, and in Poland. But unfortunately, in other countries in Europe, we were sleeping. We didn't know what's going on. And the news agencies that were not reporting on the protests and on the matter didn't help. Also the content creators, because they called us pirates, not the pirate party, but they called us pirates as people who steal owners' property.
That is how pirate parties started. I mean, Rick Valkvinger back in 2006 said, maybe drunk, I don't know, but on New Year's Eve, if you're going to call me pirate for just trying to get information free, well, damn it, I'm going to start a pirate party. That's how that thing started. So that was
really.
There was kind of a link there.
Yeah. One of my friends in Stop ACTA2, that's how we're called, a social movement called Stop ACTA2. And he's the chair of the Polish Pirate Party.
All right.
So he's on board with us as well.
Now, last year, the directive was passed in European Union, and a directive is not law by itself, but it's transferred to the member states, and they need to pass it into law. And I made an interview with a guy from a Dutch privacy organization called Bits of Freedom, and he said or recommended that privacy-loving countries or organizations, much like yourself, they had an opportunity to create proper laws. I mean, maybe the directive is a bit off, but you still have to interpret it, and you can interpret it to the letter, to the full extent, or you can make a loose interpretation. And the first country in Europe that was going to pass the directive into their law, that might be a precedent, right? They might set the example. So do you know, is the directive already put into laws anywhere in European Union?
Yeah, it's put into law in France.
There you go. So that was the disaster strategy. So Macron went ahead, and we were all sleeping.
Yeah, they were ready before. Germany has some of the laws already in place, but for a long time, so they were using the laws that Germany created some time ago. But even those laws in Germany are not so restrictive, and they were not designed for upload filters. So, but you still need to remember one thing: we are in the European Union, and a directive is the highest. It's not the law, but it's a precedent for the law. So, if, let's say, in Poland, which didn't even start to implement the directive because Poland didn't want the directive, so they went to court in the European Union with the directive, and they want Article 15 and Article 17. That's all 11 and 13.
Why? So, okay, hang on. Why is Poland? So that that sounds great, right? I envy you. I'm jealous. Why does your government take this approach as compared to my government or the French?
First thing is that our government, I think he was scared because in June when we found out that ACTA2 was coming, I mean, the copyright, we named it ACTA2, but we created 18 manifestations in Poland within a week or so in 18 different Polish cities at once. There were manifestations bigger and smaller, but we had real big manifestations. Plus, the Polish internet, it went crazy. The leading political news agency said that the party that will vote for ACTA2 is going to commit a suicide. That's why in the first vote, none of the Polish maps would vote for ACTA2. In the second vote, they voted for ACTA2, and that was during election time. So the day they voted for ACTA2, they lost 3%. This after a single vote, they lost 3%. And then they, of course, won this election, but they lost another one. The next one after the vote in March. So after ACTA2 was passed, they lost the vote because it was their vote that led to passing of ACTA2, of the copyright directive in the European Parliament, the final vote.
Yeah. Now the scary thing is now the world has changed dramatically, and nobody's First off, where are all the terrorists? So like last year, every once in a while you had a terrorist attack somewhere. So are the terrorists watching TV? Are they self-isolating against Corona, or what's up with the terrorists?
No, no, I can only judge from what I see on TV, on Twitter. I see that politicians, they are using left and right side to create disinformation of reality, yes, and diversions between people. They make people go on holy wars, the left to fight the right, yes, the right to fight the left, like human rights versus national ideologies, patriots versus LGBT, and now Black Lives Matter. It's for me, this is all so fake. I mean,
it's superficial. That's where all the attention is. While at the same, yeah, carry on.
Yeah, what you were saying, sorry.
It's superficial. That's what everybody gets to see on TV. While underneath, the French, the Dutch, all the European countries are steadily working to implement those laws that were passed in a directive not too long ago. Now, another thing that is happening over the last couple of months, we are already getting a fair bit of censorship, aren't we? I mean, Facebook, Twitter, Google, various, well, you mentioned anonymous in this interview, various anonymous accounts who were just being activists, not saying anything against Twitter regulations. They were silenced. Zero Hedge was taken out of the air for months on a time. So we're suffering all kinds of...
Worldwide.
Huh?
Anonymous worldwide was also...
Yeah, exactly. So there's all kinds of censorship taking place by the American platforms, while at the same time it's being institutionalized in European Union in passing the directive. Is that the way to see this?
That's the second part, because the first part is to implement any kind of censorship and surveillance. Yeah, you need business. So with business, they bought the media, they bought the artists, and they bought the big tech companies. Mm-hmm. Now, why are they doing this? For ideological reasons. The politicians, they all have some kind of ideology, and also they have careers. They need people to vote every once in a while. So every 5 years to the European Parliament, every 4 or 5 years to vote for a president, every 4 or 5 years to vote for MP,
members of parliament,
in your local state. So they are losing control. because back in the days, they had all the mainstream media. One was on the left side, one was on the right side. They had their, cut in half countries, and some were voting left, some were voting right, and when the balance changed, one or the other was winning. But the internet introduced something that they could not control: independent media.
Yeah.
Small independent media with YouTubers that have millions of viewers, with bloggers that have hundreds of thousands of readers per post. This is something that they cannot control, and there's thousands of them. There's influencers all over, and states cannot control this information. So they say that it's Russian propaganda. They say that it's Chinese propaganda. That we need to take some kind of precautions against it. But it really always goes back to that they need to have a monopoly on information, because what we see is what we understand, and they provide through the media. They used to provide through the media what we saw. So now they want to go back to this, and ACTA2 or terreg. That's just something that is a step in the process, but it's not the end of the way. It's going. That's why when we created Stop ACTA2 2 years ago, we were supposed to be only active for a month. That's what we said to one another. We spent 2 years right now active all the time. I had about 1 year of a pause, but I'm back with the team again. But for the first year, day by day, every day we had activities, and today we still have activities. We still meet each day and talk to each other each day. The chats, streams. We use all sorts of different platforms to search the internet for new information about what is happening, what is going on, and to share this information with the world. So
after ACTA and before ACTA2, as you call it, which is the Article 13 and the new copyright directive, the defenders of free internet, we were behind the curve and we lost the ACTA2 round. So if I can make an example here with the coronavirus, which is taking place all over the world, in your country as well, the narrative about that thing, when it started in December, January, February, we've learned a lot since then. And we've learned that it's not the disaster that we were afraid it was going to be. We were more afraid in February, March than with the knowledge that we have now, we maybe should have been. Now, in the Netherlands, there's virologists, there's epidemiologists, there's broadcasters that are seen to the big audience in a way that hasn't happened in the Netherlands for years. So I envy you and the Germans for their activism. I mean, if you go out protest, you're in the street, there's lots of people there, and you make a point. You have ACTA2. What's that thing called? StopACTA2.org. Those things, the Netherlands hasn't been that active on that level. However, now with the mainstream narrative with Corona, the alternative media is picking up, and the alternative media is being seen by hundreds of thousands of people all of a sudden.
Yes.
That's a massive spike. So is that happening? Two questions. One, is that happening in your country also? And two, are we ahead of the curve again, do you think?
Yeah, we are ahead of the curve, and it's happening in my country. I think it's happening in each country. I mean, people start to see that the doom prophecy of coronavirus is not true, because if it would be true, then the lockdowns, they wouldn't help us in such a way that they did, because right now there are no lockdowns in my country, and we still have the same amount of sick as we did during the lockdowns, but the losses to the business, they are enormous. They lost the country and all the services for 3 months. So I have also a restaurant. I had to close it for 3 months. So my restaurant was closed for 3 months, and I had to pay my employees,
Yeah.
to keep them, so they wouldn't lose the job, and so I wouldn't start all over again. And all the barbershops and all other services, they were just closed, locked down. And currently, the biggest merchandisers from shopping centers, they are leaving, and they are going online. So everything is going. So people see this, and then they see the YouTubers, the influencers, the independent media that call for retrospective of what happened and why, and did the politicians do it the right way, or did they do it the wrong way? So
how is you mentioned a moment ago career politicians being a big part of the problem. You didn't use those words, but that's what you were saying. That's my point also. I mean, if you want to solve this thing on a global scale, get rid of the career politicians and impose some transparency. So is faith in your government in Poland, is that deteriorating? Are people, how's that work?
Yeah, we have currently presidential elections.
When?
The coronavirus in about 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, in 2 weeks' time. And the acting president is also the president of the ruling party. So he had about, I think, 70% when the coronavirus started, and everyone was thanking the government that we are safe and that they locked down the country. But
now,
at this point, he's losing every day a couple of percent. So right now, we're not sure. He's not sure if he's going to win the second round, because he was supposed to win the first round, and now we know that he's going to win the first round, but not absolutely. So there is going to be a second round. So there's going to be the second round, 1 versus 1, and his opponent is right now, I think, about 0.8% left. But he just started about 2 weeks ago his campaign. So
this sounds hopeful, but if I don't know Polish politics at all, but I do know the United States politics, and
it's the same.
Yeah. So, the thing I was going to say is either you vote Biden or you vote Trump, but they're both the same mess. So is that the same in Poland then? Same?
Yeah, exactly. Because and even better, because in Poland, when the right side wins, like the Republicans, that's our ruling party in the moment, some kind of Republicans, conservatives. Yeah, when Republicans always win in the United States. When we have Democrats in the United States, we have liberals in Poland. So
all right.
Yeah. So it's.
So is anybody in Poland campaigning on a free internet and on transparency of government? Is there a party? Not so much.
Not so much. Right now, we are the only movement, but we are being banned, shadow banned, by Facebook. Our accounts are getting about 1% of what they used to. And it was a sudden strike, like we would get hundreds of comments, reactions, shares, and just in one moment we just got like 10. So
yeah, same for my account.
Yeah, but we are working on our own social media platform. It's already online. Right now we're testing the servers, so you can find it on freenet.space.
Excellent.
And it's a working copy of Facebook right now.
We
plan to launch it.
When are you going to launch?
With a matter of weeks.
We are getting ahead of the curve again, slowly but painfully. Yeah. Sounds good.
Well, Freenet Space was a project created by the Polish Anonymous and some pirates combined to create a platform that would be free of internet censorship. And this is why we started the project. So
sounds like something we could all use.
Yeah, but there are a lot. I mean, well, first we have to find a server, and then we have to find a way to secure the data. So, but we have some good unknowns working on this topic. So
we managed to have this conversation regardless all the filters and it. Good luck with your elections. Good luck with your platform, Amaru Szakur from Poland. All the best, my friend. Take care.
Yes, we came, we saw, he died.
Every nation in every region now has a decision to make.
You think I'm joking? Predator drones. You will never see it coming.
Laat staan dat ik kan ingaan over vuur.